Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alexi Lambrew, a games master for Lockhouse Escape Games on Regent Street in Cambridge. Now, the store has recently decided that we would start running Dungeons & Dragons games, so I have decided to take it upon myself to teach you guys just how to go about making your character. From races, classes, backgrounds and items, we will be covering all that you need to do to get your character ready to begin their fine adventure. Now, grab your cup of tea, grab your player's handbook, and let's do this! Now to begin, what you're going to need is one of these, the player's handbook, an item which you can end up picking up at most gaming stores, costing roughly $29.99 or £30 roughly, depending where you buy it. You can purchase it either online, in store, or in other venues. But money is not everyone's options, so you can find this information online from most websites. But obviously, should you decide that you want to keep playing and you're getting more and more invested in your characters, it might be a good idea to pick one up, as it provides a lot of handy, easy information, and it's just a lot easier to be able to physically go through the book instead of having to troll through the internet for just one snippet of information. Now, the Player's Handbook has its own handy-dandy section, featuring from pages 11 through to 15 on just how to go about making your character. So I'll be using that for the basis of this video. So starting things off with step 1, you will need to pick your race. This can be anything from your classic human, elves, dwarves, orcs, to other races such as dragonborn or tiefling. Each of them is unique in how the world views them and how they play out, so make sure to give a good read before you end up making your choice. And don't forget to check out the traits in the lower part of the pages, where it will provide you with a lot more useful information, such as ability score increases, proficiencies, and languages. Going from there through to step 2, you will need to end up picking your class. Now, the classes can be picked into 4 separate categories, from warriors, spellcasters, utilities, and supports. Each of them is unique, and make sure to have a good read deciding on how you want to play. But we are going to go into a bit of information on each of them, just so you have a good understanding. So starting things off with the warrior classes, you have the barbarian, up close and personal, dealing a lot of damage, but taking a lot of heavy hits. The fighter, the overall golden pony boy of the series, being very easy for players to begin playing and just getting going. And then you have the paladin, the righteous swordbringer of gods and demons. They are very handy for tackling more of the enchanted versions of monsters you'll be fighting. Going from there, you'll be going into spellcasters, such as the wizard, warlock, or sorcerer. Now, obviously starting off from that, the names alone don't tell you much, but each of them is very unique. Wizards having by far the largest spell list, but having to carry around a large book to make sure that they memorize everything. Warlocks end up paying homage to a certain deity of their choice, and gain certain boons because of it. And the sorcerer, depending on which one you pick, can either take on large random acts of magic, becoming super powerful, or they can end up taking on the blood of dragons, making them particularly nasty in certain fights. From there, we will then go through to the support classes, such as the monk, the cleric, or the druid. Now, not each of them is entirely support in their own right, but when used in a certain fashion, they can be rather handy. So the monk being able to end up getting up close and personal with damage dealing, but also able to stand their own in a fight. It's quite handy when you end up having a large amount of wizards. The cleric, of course, is your main healer. They're the people who you're going to want to keep in the back and make sure that they stay alive so that you do too. And then the druid, being able to commune with nature and other fluffy animals and the like, can always be handy in a nature setting. And then finally, going into the utility classes, we have the bard, the rogue, and the ranger. Each of these are unique and powerful in their own right. The bard being a jack-of-all-trades class, where you can pretty much pick and cherry-pick your own way on how you want to play. The rogue being the sneaky lockpicker, thief, or assassin of the group. Or the ranger, which has a very handy ability of being able to track around the wilderness, not starve, and be able to provide the group with handy things in nature. After that, we're going to need to end up going through to step 3, where we will be talking about ability scores. Now, ability scores can be separated into 6 different sections: strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Each of these are powerful and unique in their own right. but it'll be up to you on what you pick. Now, there are 3 ways to go about determining your ability score. One being that you roll for it. Simply take 4d6s, that is your standard dice, and roll them. Once you have ended up getting your numbers, drop the lowest, add it all together, and that gives you your ability score. Do this the following 5 extra times to determine your numbers. Then spread them out accordingly to make your character. Or you can choose the point to buy section, which happens to be on page 13. You'll be given 27 points, and then you'll choose what points you wish to buy. Obviously, the higher the number which you want, the more it's going to cost, so you do have to think about it. Or, finally, there is the average scores, where you will either be able to pick 3 lots of 15, giving you +2s, or 3 lots of 8, which will end up giving you -1s. However, there is the other option, which is 3 lots of 13 and 3 lots of 12, which give you +1s across the board. If you're wanting to be a rogue, it's probably a good idea to focus on dexterity, constitution, and charisma. However, if you're wanting to be a fighter, then it's probably a good idea to, instead of having charisma, maybe focus into strength a bit more. However, it is up to you on how you want to do this. This, at the end of the day, is possibly the most important part of making your character, and it is highly advised that when you pick your class, you end up focusing on what skills you're going to need for that class to best use it to your advantage. With your race and class picked and your ability sorted out, you'll then move on to your background. Now this explains what your character was doing before they became an adventurer. From a spy to an acolyte to a noble to a hermit. All of this information can be found in pages 125 through to 141. Each of them is unique and will be providing you with certain proficiency bonuses, tools, items, and little bits of information for you to end up making your character that much more unique. Now, when it comes to backgrounds, it'll either be up to what you wish would be best for your character, or you can end up going with the recommended section in the classes. These will also be providing you with proficiencies. Now, proficiencies are your overall skill with skills, items, or armour. Each of your classes or backgrounds will be providing you with those proficiencies, so it's always a good recommendation to have a look through them. Not only that, but you should also have a look at how many languages you can speak. Whether you just speak Common, or Gnomish, or Giant, or Dwarven, or even the language of the gods itself. Now you'll be able to end up finding your languages in both your races and background sections accordingly. Going from there, we're finally into the home stretch with equipment. Now, equipment is things like armour, weapons, and tools, and can be found in pages 145 through to 149. Each of them is powerful, so do have a read up and do get to learn it. Now, with that all wrapped up, I think we are good to go. For the most part, you should have the basics of your character created, and you should be pretty much good to start rolling. As we progress through the series, I might start making more individual videos on classes, races, and how to go about making your character in more detail, but this is just a beginner's video, just so that way then you guys understand what you're actually doing. Now, don't forget to either pick up a player's handbook, or to search online on how to best do these abilities. Unfortunately, I'm not able to provide you with all the information just yet, but I'm sure you'll be able to end up getting the basics with this. Hopefully, we'll see you all soon, and in the meantime, keep rolling. I'll see you later.